your race or the job you desire unless you request it with a little bit of authority. So take the time to figure out some talking points, and the more data you have, the better chance you have of winning the fight. But don't think that you don't deserve it.
You only get what you ask for, right?
Right.
You can't
Maybe
just assume.
Even more.
But I think in your case, the sexy Russian accent, either they're afraid of it or they just get like melted by it. So you got an advantage there.
If you're not gonna ask, you're not gonna get. But be prepared to ask.
Be prepared. That's excellent. Excellent advice, Professor Alla. You should be teaching.
Oh, please.
You don't have time.
So much to learn.
Okay. Let's talk about the technology field, though, right now for these gals that may be thinking about going in that direction. A lot of them are. Like, what areas of growth would you kind of drive them toward, lead them toward in that field? It's a huge field.
Well, there are so many different areas. It depends on your objectives. But if you're talking specifically about technology or
technology,
commerce, technology. So in my opinion, no matter what you do, if you want to work in technology, then learn about technology. There are so many free courses and cheap courses that you can take everywhere, but don't try to avoid it. If you want to go into technology, you need to be fluent enough to have the conversation with your peers, with your leadership, with somebody who you might mentor, but you can't avoid learning about technology. Even things like girls who code, right? You're probably familiar with Girls Who Code community. But if you don't, Google it, you're going to find it. And by the way, the founder and CEO of Girls Who Code is Rashma Saujani, and she's immigrant from India. And when she came to the United States, she wasn't afraid, and she founded this company, and she's CEO of this company. It has unbelievable amount of resources and different opportunities, mentorship, courses, and everything you want. So no matter where you want to work, marketing, on analytics, PM, project management, or anything like that, learn a little bit how to code. It's going to give you a lot more confidence to make talking points with your peers and leadership.
Great advice. Yeah, the coding is definitely a game changer, for real. And you worked in. Now you're in a huge corporation. But prior to that, you worked in you worked in the startup rigor. So like, when thinking about starting your career for some of these women, would you recommend one versus the other, and why? Like, what are the differences that you see?
You can really start basic, like take your white piece of paper and a pen and do like divide it by 2 and do yes, no, right? Or pros and cons. You have to consider which factors are essential to help you work towards your own personal goals. Because if you're not clear about your personal goals, you're not going to succeed in your career. Will you do better with an always evolving, think outside the box type mentality, or in a more structured environment that allows you to be more methodical and work towards your goals? So I would say I worked in both environments. I worked in large enterprises like Time Magazine, Economist Magazine, right? But I also worked in a startup environment. Neither environment is better than the other. They're just different. And it completely depends on your personality, your work style, and those unique needs that, determine which will be the best for you and your career. Just always remember, like, the main top, very simple differences. Enterprise is more risk averse, more established, more safe, but slow to move. Where startups are a lot higher risk taking. It's a lot less established, like you can call it unestablished, but it's fast to move. So it's like when you're investing in a market and you talk to financial advisor, they always ask you a question: what's your risk tolerance? So ask all these questions and decide which one more suits you. But my personal choice, I like to move, right? So I worked in both, and if I need to go to startup one day, I will. But I'm establishing my think outside the box style of mentality, no matter where I work.
And I think that's awesome when you started, where you said, "What are your personal goals?" Like you have to know your personal goals. You have to know kind of like what your big picture plan is for yourself. It could change, but if you do know yourself, I think it's a process to get to know yourself, and sometimes you have to experience different things and try different things to understand. Some people know it, but and now you went from a role that was kind of more of an individual contributor role to now something of a vast leadership role. Yeah. What is your leadership style like?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. You're right. I was as a individual contributor working with a ton of customers, and then boom, this changed. But I was already before in these shoes when I worked in large companies. However, later a lot of things changed. So my kind of like secret weapons and maybe my advice to you sisters would be, if you want to be a successful leader with enough authority to make a change and to move the needle, then number one, stop trying to be a pleaser, right? So many times we women, and for some reason it doesn't relate to a male, like to a male boss or a male leader. We women, we taken a role of a pleaser in an attempt to be noticed. And if getting someone coffee isn't part of your job, then let it be done by someone else. And it's nice to be nice, but always trying to please others won't get you anywhere. Instead of serving, and or instead of serving, it kind of like serving. Constantly serving belittles you and leaves an impression that you're unsure of yourself. So know your stuff and then know more. Play to your strength. If you can identify what's unique in your background while you're learning something new, use those skills that you have, your best skills, to advance. And if you don't have all the skills that you need to succeed, then go out and learn them. Take a weekend, take an evening, take a night, if you will, but not regularly, please. So take a class, do anything possible to distinguish yourself and grow professionally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do it. You got to work a little harder. If you want it, you got to work a little harder, faster, stronger than the next guy. And now we have to wrap up because we are
I understand.
You have so much great info that it just goes so fast. So one last question is, what is the one piece of advice you would give these younger women as they launch?
Okay, so we girls, like, we're always kind of afraid. Admit it. Even if you don't want to admit it, but it exists as a trend. We're afraid of being judged by family, by friends. We're worried about making the wrong choice, or we're anxious because we think that we don't know enough. We're not enough, right? So this isn't about finding the perfect job, because the perfect job doesn't exist. But it is about building a career that aligns with who you are, with what you do. Don't be afraid to be judged. Don't worry about making the wrong choice. Go ahead and make wrong choices. Learn from them, just not many times on the same wrong choice. And like I said, be who you are and align yourself with what you do.
Beautifully well put, my queen. A queen of Estee Lauder. Okay, thank you so much for being with us, taking your time out of your amazingly busy schedule. I know it's crazy. And if people want to reach out to you for more juiciness, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn has my email.
That's
my
right.
Phone number.
LinkedIn. That's where they found her. That's where they plucked her. They found her on LinkedIn.
Jeannie, can I make a very, very last book recommendation?
Yes.
My career mentor, Fran Hauser, who's angel investor and a huge person in the industry, she wrote this book. It's called The Myth of the Nice Girl. And literally on the cover, it says, Achieving Career You Love Without Being a Person You Hate. I highly, highly recommend getting that book on a Kindle. She also has Audible book or hardcover, but this is absolutely instrumental for all young and doesn't matter what age entrepreneurs and people who want to succeed in their career. I highly recommend.
That is fantastic. I'm going to totally write about that in the blog, and thank you for that. And the one I love that about Alla is she's an avid reader and always expanding her mind. So she walks the walk. She may tell you guys to do something, but she is doing it and making it happen. Thank you for being with us, guys. Check out the book, The Myth of the Nice Girl. That is awesome. Be true to yourself, and we'll see you next time on The Wire. Get out there, slay dragons. Thanks again. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
Bye.